Hey, it's Regina here from Tarot and Time in Kent, Connecticut, and I'm here to talk to you about the month of August using tarot and astrology for everyday living. So here we are, it's Leo season, and we know every August we're going to start with the sun in the fiery sign of Leo, and then towards the end of the month we're going to move into Virgo season. So what's different about this year? Well, this year the planet Jupiter is hanging out in the sign of Leo. It just arrived here a couple weeks ago, and Jupiter's considered the planet of luck and blessings. Everyone kind of thinks of Jupiter as only the positive features. And really, we have to remember that everything in astrology, everything in life, right, is one extreme or the other, yin, yang. So when we have Jupiter anywhere, wherever Jupiter is going to be, it's just going to make things bigger, right? Jupiter rules the sign Sagittarius. And if you know any Sagittariuses like myself, we often, we're like running a three-ring circus. We like the busyness. We like things big. Okay. So that's the energy of Jupiter, and that's the energy that's in the sign of Leo. So when we say that things are fiery right now, they're extra fiery because Jupiter's there expanding it all. So Jupiter's going to be hanging out in the sign of Leo for 1 year. It spends 1 year in each sign. So it's been 12 years since Jupiter's been here. And if you happen to be born with Jupiter in Leo, then you are in the midst of a Jupiter return. So hold on to your hat because everything's going to be extreme. Now, I learned that. I'm a Cancer rising. Jupiter spent the past year there, and I learned that it's not all great stuff, but it sure does bring in some wonderful stuff along with the big stuff. Okay. So we start off, we have 4 planets in fire signs. We have the sun in the sign of Leo. Now remember, the sun rules the sign Leo. I always thought that was kind of unfair that Leo gets the sun. I guess Cancer gets the moon. So, all right. So we have 4 planets in fire. The sun, Jupiter, Saturn is in Aries, Saturn, the planet of responsibility, and Neptune, the planet of creativity, of healing, of illusion and delusion. That's hanging out in Aries. So those planets are going to be working together right now in a smoother way with the sun and Jupiter in Leo. So, and then remember, we're going to have a Leo new moon this month, as we do every Leo season. But again, it's a bigger, fiery deal because of Jupiter. Now, we start off the month with 1 planet in an earth sign, and that planet is Venus in Virgo. And as we talked about last month, it's not the best placement for Venus because Venus is like loving and harmonious, and Virgo is very analytical. So we have to be careful about how we've been talking to ourselves, how we've been treating ourselves, and not being too nitpicky with ourselves. We have 1 planet in water, and that is Mercury, the planet of communication, that is still in the sign of Cancer. Remember, it's just coming out of its retrograde. So as we start this month, we're coming out of the shadow of that retrograde. We have 3 planets in air signs. So we have Mars, the planet of action, hanging out in Gemini, fast-moving sign. So we probably getting a lot done. Things are busy. Mars, I think, kind of likes the sign Gemini. We have Uranus in the sign of Gemini also. So Mars and Uranus are kind of close by. Even though they're a little bit farther in degrees, they're still in the same sign. And Uranus is the oh wow planet. Okay. And we're coming out of a big oh wow period as we were coming off that Aquarius full moon that happened towards the end of July. So we also have, Pluto in Aquarius. So that's 1, 2, 3 planets in air signs. And later on in the month, we'll have 3 planets in fire, and then we'll get 2 planets in earth because the sun will move into Virgo. So that will ground us a little bit. And then we'll continue to just have 1 planet in water, which is going to be Mars, which is not considered its best placement, a little slower moving. But we also are going to have the Pisces full moon towards the end of the month. That's going to make things really emotional and really watery. So even though there's only 1 planet in water, when the full moon happens, there'll be 2 planets in water, and it's a highly emotional full moon. Okay, so What else? Yeah, 3 planets in air by the end of the month. It switches to Venus in Libra there, along with Pluto and Uranus. So we know that the Mercury retrograde was going on. Remember, Mercury was kind of revisiting everything that happened since June 12th. So we're coming out of the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. So we really should have some clarity about everything that happened since June 12th. Now, August feels a little less like the casual summer energy that we often think of. And I was doing a lot of research on the internet, and it was like it compared it to the final chapter of a book that you've been waiting years to read. And so there's going to be a lot about endings because we have so many of these. We have 2 eclipses this month, and things can start to really clear up, clear out, and then we can start to get really grounded as we move into September. So first half of the month is super expansive, super loud, super bold, all those Leo qualities. We have to be careful about being healthy selfish versus just plain old selfish. We have to be careful about that. We have to keep our ego in check, especially as we get towards the new moon on August 12th and the solar eclipse. And I heard one astrologer compare it to a new moon on caffeine. So that should be an interesting one. The eclipse is going to shake things up, but thankfully Venus right afterwards will move into one of its best placements, which is in Libra, its own sign. So it can bring in some harmony and some balance. Now, Mars is going to leave Gemini this month, and, Gemini's high pace and it's fun loving. And then Mars, the planet of action, is going to move into Cancer, which I said before is not its best placement. It's a little too slow. So we're going to be asked to kind of slow things down, but it's going to be hard to with all the fiery energy. Now, we have to be careful about defensiveness or being like passive aggressive or keeping things kind of hidden and unspoken. We're going to have to be careful for that. We need to slow down. We need to speak with kindness and with love. And really, we need to take care of ourselves. So, get a massage. Make sure you're scheduling your chill out times, and really and truly be willing to show up and work on your relationships. I was just having a conversation with someone about how I really feel that if you don't work out the issue with your partner, or your friends, and that these things come up again, right? They come up with different people. So it's a good time to owe it to yourself to try to work out your relationships. So Jupiter, the planet, again, of luck, blessings, and expansion, is pretty much opposite Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, all month. So Pluto's on one side and Jupiter's on the other. So it's definitely going to make things intense. But instead of just, listening to this video and being like, oh my goodness, this whole month is going to be so crazy intense, why don't you opt for passion? Because Pluto rules sex. Pluto rules power. Pluto rules resources. Pluto rules other people's money. But it also rules taxes. So make sure that you are addressing those. Now, we're going to have a Venus opposition this month. It's one of the notable energies for August. And so Venus opposite Saturn is going to happen on August 21st. And it's kind of like reality rearing its ugly head in relationships and regarding the relationship with your wallet, because Saturn is responsibility and Venus is all the beautiful things and all the lovely things. And sometimes we don't want to think about responsibility. We just want to think about buying what we want or getting what we want. So we're going to have to look at this month. But remember, everyone thinks that Saturn is out to get them. Saturn is really a builder. It's just that it wants you to follow the rules. And that's why you hear me calling Saturn the building inspector. You get the list, you follow the rules, and you get the permit. So make sure to do that. Show up. And again, it's a great month for therapy. So on August 28th, the month kind of ends with this highly emotional full moon end lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And so that is going to kind of really heighten emotion. Make sure that you really take responsibility for your role in things. I think of Pisces as such a karmic sign. And also, sometimes Pisces can self-sacrifice. So make sure that you're not like taking all the blame with things, right? Because you think you're trying to like help someone in some way, or this is give and take, and it all doesn't just have to land on you. Make sure that you get enough downtime, that you get enough rest time, and take care of yourself this month. So it kind of feels to me like it starts off really fun, and then it starts to head more into seriousness as we get to the end of the month. And then it kind of ends with like self-reflection and self-care. All right. So let's jump into the month. We're going to go week by week. And if you're new here, I post these videos in small clips every week just to kind of remind you. Often I listen back myself, remind myself of what's going on each week ahead. So don't worry if you don't absorb it all at once. I'm working with a couple of really fun decks here today. I pulled a couple off the shelves at our store in Kent, Connecticut. If you haven't visited yet, please come to our spiritual boutique. It's really fun. And our online store is up and running also, and these tarot decks are on there. I chose Tinsel Tarot, and you can see it says tester. I took it off the shelf. I've never read with this one before, but it felt so Leo to me. So we're going to work with that one. I also grabbed some cat tarot decks because Leo is the cat, and I don't have the box for this one, but this is the Black Cats Tarot, and I really always love that deck. I also chose out a new one that I haven't used before called Soul Cats, and I like it already, so we're going to be working with that one. And what else did I grab here? I have the Hedge Witch Oracle. Let's see, I got the tester one from the store. Okay, this is just a really beautiful oracle. And as soon as we first got it in, it sold out. So I just restocked it. So get it while you can. And let's jump into week by week. So here's the chart for August 3rd. And you can see that the planets, well, you can see that there's a little bit of open area there, right? So not everything's really balanced. There's some open area with no planets. We have a couple things scrunched together. We got some Aries activity over there on the left side. And you can see the planets in Gemini, the one that looks like the Roman numeral 2. And so when we start off the week, I'm noticing that the moon is really close to Neptune and Saturn. So Neptune and Saturn, I've talked about that before. Like Neptune is like creative ideas and dreaminess and very artsy. Okay. And then Saturn is responsibility. So it's almost like we can bring these projects into reality. And then the moon is there, and the moon is our intuition and our truth knowing. And so I would really give yourself some creative time there. If you have a project to work on, the beginning of the week is really good for that with the moon there in Aries, more fire, right? And so it'll be making a harmonious relationship with those planets in Leo, which is a good thing. Now, we begin the month on August 3rd with the Chiron retrograde. So Chiron, it's an asteroid, but it's been used for a long time to be related to our soul's wound point. Okay, so wherever Chiron landed in your chart, it looks like a K with a little 0 over it. It talks about what your wound is, and it's kind of interesting to look at. You know, I was born with it in the sign of Aries. And so I was going through a Chiron return for the past, I think it was 7 years. And now it ended and it moved on into Taurus. But now with this Chiron return, it's going to make its way back to Aries. So the questions are, and you don't have to have been born with Chiron in Aries like me, but it's going to affect us all. So it's asking us, like, what's left to be healed, especially from our childhood, because that's what Aries is. It is our childhood. How does it affect our self-value, right? It's in the sign of Taurus right now, which is all about value. And then the moon's actually going to enter Taurus on Tuesday the 4th, and it's going to stay there until Friday the 7th. So there's lovely Venus energy. Make sure you get outside and enjoy Mother Earth. But there's going to be these themes of Chiron. So from August to January, we're going to be kind of reflecting on our identity, our value, who are we now, what's important now, and a little bit about themes of like loving ourselves, right? All of us who have been having the Chiron return, it takes about 50 years to have a Chiron return. So in that case, we're getting into our 50s. And so these themes of who am I now and what is my value now, and going through the aging process and still loving ourselves anyways, regardless of the wrinkles. Okay. So Chiron retrograde beginning on 8/3. Now, the last quarter moon takes place on Tuesday, 8/4. And so the last quarter moon closeout of a cycle. It's in the sign of Taurus, value. And so this is withdrawing energy, okay? And so something might be coming to a close, and it might be hard to walk away from that. It could be, I heard some astrologers saying, like, maybe you were pet sitting and you have to say goodbye to the pet, or maybe you were like a substitute teacher and this time is coming for you to step away, or, whatever it may be. Maybe you were a nanny and they don't need your services right now. So it might be hard to leave, but trust that everyone will remember the good that you did. Now, the moon continues in Taurus and it will be there until Friday the 7th. Now, on the 6th, the ruler of Taurus, Venus, is going to move into the other sign it rules, which is Libra. And this is really awesome because this is Venus's best placement. So there's going to be, you might find that you're kind of in a position of having to mediate something. Maybe you're in the middle of somebody else's stuff. Okay. But there's going to be balancing energy. There's going to be harmonious energy. And so Venus in Libra is just lovely. What else can I tell you about Venus in Libra? It's kind of a good time to, if you're going to purchase property, purchasing a home, if there's any legal contracts involved, Venus in Libra is a great time for that. Now, we're going to head into a Gemini weekend. So the shadow period of Mercury retrograde ends on Friday. So that's a good thing. And then we move into what I call fun weekend with the moon in the fun-loving sign of Gemini. But remember, Uranus is hanging out in Gemini and Mars is there too. So there could be a lot of unexpected things. There could be a lot of kind of like fast-paced energy with Mars there in Gemini. Now, on Sunday the 9th, by the time you wake up, the moon will have moved into Cancer. So that might be a good morning to sleep in or just kind of enjoy your home because that's what Cancer rules. Now, on Sunday, Mercury, the planet of communication, leaves the sign of Cancer, a very psychic, watery placement, very emotional position, and moves into the fire sign of Leo. And so this is a great time to be true to yourself and speak from your heart. And Mercury and Leos know how to speak up. You may find that you have to draw the line with coworkers and other people. So make sure that you are true to yourself and true to your boundaries. Live in the moment. Have a great time. All right, so let's get you some cards here for this first week of August. I hope that you get to be on vacation. I hope that you are having fun and making the most of the summer. And let's see what cards we have here supporting you. I'm going to give you one from each of these beautiful decks that I'm working with. It's kind of exciting because I'm not really familiar with two of these decks. So We'll see how that goes. Okay, so your first card is the Five of Wands. And I told you it wasn't going to be a dull period. Look at that. It's like full speed ahead there. And Five of Wands often, it's five of fire. So we got more fire showing up. Five is a number of change. And often you'll see Five of Wands looking like people like teamwork. And then it looks like maybe they're fighting. And there's just a lot of egos involved. And there's just everybody's got an opinion. And so that's what we're seeing here with the Five of Wands. Now, your second card is the High Priestess. So much calmer, much more watery energy. I love this cat. She's so pretty. And this is the energy of the moon. Okay. So this is related to the sign Cancer. And so the High Priestess feels and the High Priestess knows, but she doesn't always share. So we see a little bit of confrontation next to her, but we see her in her power. We've got the Queen of Pentacles here. Wow, she feels more like she'd be a Leo queen. But we've got this confident woman here sitting on the pentacle. And so this is some grounded energy. So you got a queen and a high priestess. And she's the queen of value. And so she doesn't look like she's going to be pushed around. I'll tell you that much. Let's see what the oracle is. Parsley, honoring the dead. Interesting. Now, sometimes the high priestess comes up as mom energy. And this says honoring the dead. Interesting. Let me read from the book just to give you a little bit more understanding. So this is all about plants. And so the plant is parsley. And it says, drawing parsley reminds you to honor the memories of those you have lost. Your loss may not be a death. It may be a broken relationship or a future that you had once imagined for yourself. So parsley was sacred to Persephone and the underworld and was once used to adorn tombs, giving it strong association with death. It is also a potent ingredient in protection spells and can be used for ritual purification. Parsley was once given to beasts of the field to stop witches casting spells on them, and parsley boiled in water was given to a person who may have been bewitched. Interesting. Spell of the day. Allow yourself to express your grief as a step towards processing it, beginning to heal and finding closure. Okay, and then it gives us a whole thing to do about a memorial altar. And I'm not going to read that all to you, but I can see the words expressing your grief and a step towards processing it. And that was a lot of what the Chiron return or Chiron retrograde is about. Okay. So as much as there's a lot of fiery Five of Wands energy there, the high priestess comes in and she remembers, right? The moon is the memory of all time. It's the timekeeper. So there's the memory here. There's grounded energy of the Queen of Pentacles, and it wants you to honor. And I kind of think it's honoring your mother, whether she be on this side or the other side, honoring your value, honoring the mothers before you, and not letting yourself get into it with people because it's just too damn easy with all this Leo energy. Okay. So have a good week ahead. Let's go into the second week of August. And we're going to start off the week. This is Monday, August 10th through Sunday, August 16th. This is a new moon week. We're heading to the Leo new moon on Wednesday, the 12th, along with a solar eclipse. So this is like a big deal week. And the moon is going to start off in its own sign of Cancer this week, this highly intuitive sign, and it'll be there until early Tuesday morning as it makes its way into Leo. So there's a lot of stuff happening this week. There's a lot of stuff happening this month. But we have a lot of Venus energy the beginning of the week. So on Monday the 10th, Venus is going to be trine, positive aspect, with Pluto. And it's also going to be opposite Neptune. Now, Venus in Libra believes in law and order. It believes in etiquette. And Neptune is in the sign of Aries, and Neptune glamorizes whatever sign it's in. So it can glamorize anger or loud voices or passion or outrage. So we've got some loud energy, and then we've got harmonious energy of Libra. Venus in Libra kind of wants to like cool things down and keep the peace. And Neptune in Aries wants you to say what you mean. So it's kind of feisty. And it creates an air triangle. But rules and laws win out. Okay. So Mars energy, Aries energy, is going to have to appeal to the harmonious energy, okay? And it's going to have to follow that. So the rules will win out. Honor, law, order, and etiquette will prevail. Now, with Venus, with the trine with Pluto, that can bring in a lot of passion, okay? But we just have to be careful about not letting that passion turn into just feistiness, okay? Because we are heading to a fire new moon, conjunct Jupiter, which makes it even bigger, right? Because we have a fire new moon every August. We have a new moon in Leo, but this one is exaggerated with Jupiter there. It's just exaggerated. And then it's even more exaggerated because Pluto's opposite. All right. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Keep choosing passion. So honor and law, order, and etiquette prevail on with the first aspect with Venus. Then on the 11th, Mars, the planet of action, moves into the sign of Cancer. So we were talking about this in the beginning of the video, that this isn't its best placement, right? Because Mars likes to move fast and wants to get things done. It's the planet of action and motivation. It's the god of war in Greek mythology. So Mars to Cancer, we want to slow down and take a moment before reacting. So if you know Cancers, we're really protective of our family. We're very protective of our home. We're very protective of our feelings. And we like to be in charge. So we're going to need to slow down and take a moment before like snapping at someone, and just going to want to be notice that that's the energy in the air. Okay. And then it's feisty in the air. So slow down, take a moment before reacting. Now, the other thing with Mars and Cancer, it's like nobody better mess with your peeps. All of your protective instincts and childhood issues will be stirred. Okay. Rejection, competition, all those kind of themes. Your lover isn't your parent, okay? People aren't out to get you, so please keep that in mind. Okay, also on 8/11, so wow, a lot happening. Venus is going to be trine Uranus. So, and it's going to be opposite Neptune. So Venus, planet of relationships, right? Trining, positive aspect, the oh wow planet, the anything can happen planet. And so I felt it as that love can show up. Okay. It can show up through friends. It can show up through just being in the right place at the right time. But because Neptune is involved, because this is opposite Neptune, you want to give it time to reveal itself. Okay. So it might be like, wow, overwhelming at first. But there's fogginess involved. So don't forget that part and wait, give yourself time to kind of see the full picture. Now, if you're not looking for love and you're like, okay, whatever, that doesn't matter to me, this could be friends showing up. New friend could show up. And this can also be financial opportunity showing up. Okay. But there's fogginess and we don't want to get so wrapped up that we forget that part. Now, 8/11. We also have Mercury trine Neptune. So Mercury, the planet of communication, is making a positive aspect with Neptune, planet of creativity. So Mercury's in the sign of Leo, and it's trining Neptune in the fire sign of Aries. So there's a lot of courage of the heart. But remember, fire is really intuitive energy. You know, a lot of times, and I find myself portraying intuitive energy as being mostly watery, but water is like soulful and like psychic energy, but fire energy is highly intuitive. Fire is very spirited, like, you know, like quickly, like, feeling this instinct to turn one way and then you avoid an accident. Okay. That's an example of fire energy intuition. So you're going to be able to respond to situations immediately. It can almost be compared to like a lightning round of Jeopardy. Okay. So yours is like a speed round and you're getting it all right. So there's a certain amount of alertness, but if something seems off to you, you don't need to go into logic to try to figure out why it seems wrong to you. If it smells fishy, trust it, okay? Act on it in the moment. So if the contract seems worded wrong, trust it and act in the moment. Don't wait. You will be happy that you didn't. Now, also, Mercury is going to be in opposition with Pluto. So we definitely want to check the fine print. Pluto's like the investigator. And remember, Mercury in its shadow is the trickster. So make sure that, you know, something that might seem like trivial at the time, or it's like a harmless condition, or you let a discrepancy slide. And you don't want to ignore these things because you're the one that will pay the price. Okay. So take care of it in the moment, get it done with, and you'll be in good shape. So this combo of these aspects can help us get over inhibitions. There's an alertness, and we're going to trust our intuition. Okay. Now, if that wasn't enough, there's more happening. So on the 12th, we have a lot happening on the 12th because it's Leo new moon and it's the solar eclipse, but it's also Mercury sextile Uranus. And so Mercury in Leo, fixed sign, is sextiling Uranus in the mutable sign of Gemini. So this can be a helpful aspect. Pay attention to what's hidden underneath, and the actions are intelligent. So we have great ideas because Uranus is the genius of the zodiac, and it helps accelerate things. Things move fast, so our thinking can be accelerated. There's a lot of great ideas and there's a lot of helpful friends. So take advantage of that on the 12th. Okay, so here's the Leo new moon. So it is August 12th at 1:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, along with the solar eclipse. So we see that the sun and the moon are both at 20 degrees Leo. Okay, so this is going to fall wherever that 20 degrees Leo is in your chart. That's where the new moon will be taking place. And it's about 11 degrees away from Jupiter. So it's a little bit, it's not really considered conjunct Jupiter, but I think of Jupiter as so big that just being in the same sign is going to have an effect on it. Okay, so this is dramatic. And we've got Mercury there, and Mercury in Leo is loud. Okay, so this is not a quiet new moon. I often think of new moons as quiet. This is not. One of the things that jumps out to me is that it's 9 degrees away from the south node. And the nodes have just recently changed signs. So we've got 29 degrees of Leo, south node. I just feel like that's the cup of the past there. So we have to be careful about not just like falling back into the past or making decisions or out of like our heart wants something. And, you know, Leo does rule passion, and Leo in astrology, the 5th house is the house of dating and love affairs. So we have to be careful not to fall too hard back into those. Okay. And it's going to be opposite Pluto, even though technically, again, Pluto's at 3 degrees, and I like to go up to about 10 degrees within that range of considering it together with something. But again, Pluto's such a heavy hitter that just being opposite in signs is still going to affect us also. So very dramatic new moon, very heart-based new moon. It is trining Saturn. And so trining Saturn's at 14 degrees. So they're working in a harmonious way, right? And Saturn, the builder. So there's your Leo new moon. All right. Now, the solar eclipse. So the moon passes in front of the sun. That's the solar eclipse. We're not going to see it here. It's going to be seen in like Iceland and northern Spain. If you're there, enjoy it. It's very dramatic. It's the blocking of light. So there may be a dramatic change in your outlook about yourself, about where you're going. This is a good time for an ego check. And it's also a time of great epiphanies, okay? There can be surprise realizations. There can be the removal of someone, or someone you looked up to, or someone in a political office. Now, I almost shared with you the post that I really wanted to show you, which was the king being taken away in handcuffs, but I don't want to get too political on here. But traditionally, I know I was doing some research in the Roman Empire, they felt that this kind of eclipse would show the removal of a king. Okay, so removal of the king, departure of someone, maybe someone at work, maybe it's the end of an apprenticeship, maybe this is your mentor retiring, and it's time for you to step out on your own. Okay, for you to leave home. It's almost like a graduation, stepping out from behind a shadow. Give yourself some time to get used to the new landscape and start making plans for your future. Okay, very exciting. Now, you're going to make moon water. Remember, a couple days before, a couple days after, leaving water in a jar, in a window if you can, ideally. You can even leave it outside these days in this nice weather and make some moon water and drink it a couple days after, and just taking in that energy of this powerful Leo new moon and solar eclipse. Now, the moon stays in Leo until early morning on Thursday, and then it moves into Virgo. So it'll be in Virgo Thursday, Friday, Saturday until mid-morning when it moves into Libra. So, Virgo's a great time to take care of things and get things in order. And then the weekend will be a great time to enjoy relationships. Now, on the 15th, Mercury is going to be conjunct Jupiter in Leo. And there can be a lot of choices. Jupiter was named after the god of plenty, the god of abundance, but also, and I just learned this myself, the god of storms. So I got a nice picture here of raining opportunities, all right? And there could be a lot of offers. You might feel like a kid in a candy store. So enjoy that. Enjoy the Virgo to Libra weekend. Again, getting things in order and then enjoying your people. And is that everything for the week? Oh my goodness, what a week. I mean, that is a lot of energy, and there's a lot of Leo. So we call it a stellium. There's a stellium in Leo, 3 or more planets in the same sign. Mercury, the planet of communication, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, and the sun, our ego, our soul, in its own sign of Leo. Let me give you some cards. Let's see what you need to know. I think about what's being removed. And, I've often heard, I know like Sheila Haidt talks about offering up something that you would like to be removed. So maybe getting ahead of the curve there and saying, okay, please offer this up. And, you can do it politically if you want, but you can also do it personally, what you would like to see removed. Now, I guess you're getting 2 from the Tinsel town. And let me get one. Oh, I guess it's that one. All right. So let's see what you've got here. Your first card is the Tower. Of course, Uranus energy. Uranus is hanging out in the sign of Gemini right now. And so we've got Uranus and we see, the tower. This is a nice version of the tower, the cat knocking the lamp off the shelf. Okay. So unexpected things. And we're, coming out of that. We were ending July on that Aquarius full moon. That was an intense one. We've got some more Uranus energy here. We've got the Knight of Cups and we've got Cupid's arrow being shot. Okay. Now, didn't I say this was the week that love could show up? Is that this week? Well, even if it was last week, the energy is still in the air. So we've got some Cupid energy here. Remember, the tower can be unexpected things. Things can show up. Now, I meant to pull one Tinseltown tarot. I got two. Let's see what we got. I've got the Two of Pentacles. So we've got a relationship number showing up here. And I've got the Queen of Wands. Of course, we have the Queen of Wands. She had to make her way in here because she is a Leo queen. So I love all the outfits here and the Queen of Wands sitting on a tube of lipstick. All right. So enjoy, Leo, it's like, show up, wear the clothes you want to wear, show up. Look at her great outfit there in the Two of Pentacles. And there's a lot of relationship vibes. It's a Libra weekend. So, wear an outfit, maybe something you've been saving, just wear it, enjoy it. And sudden things can show up, but sudden opportunities can show up. Friends can show up. Love can show up. Opportunities can show up. Let's see what your oracle is. It's Blackthorn and it says banishing. And we were talking about what needs to be removed, right? Let's see what the little book says here about Blackthorn banishing. Number 36. And the book says, drawing Blackthorn means you may need to banish some negative force from your life, either from within or without. Blackthorn is often called the dark crone of the woods. It is a very powerful plant that is associated with Samhain, the division between summer and winter. Blackthorn is used to create safe boundaries when undertaking banishing or binding spells and shadow work. The Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in England has an old blasting rod made of 3 long blackthorn stems growing from a single branch with thorns left intact, wound together and tied with a dark red ribbon and used to drive away evil and malice. So, we're talking about what we can let go of, right? We're talking about the eclipse, what we can let go of. And maybe this is, banishing is another way of saying removal. And so maybe there's some things that we are ready to remove. Maybe it isn't necessarily a specific person. Maybe it's just a way of being or a way of feeling. And with Leo energy, it makes me feel like, and with the way like these cards showed with the lipstick and everything, it's like, why do we have to play so small all the time, right? Why can't we wear the lipstick? Why can't we wear the outfit we want? Why can't we live bigger than maybe, we see other people around us doing? So I say wear the dress. I say banish the ideas of having to play small. This is Leo season. Love yourself, whatever it may be. We're lucky to be alive. And so remember that and try to thank your body and enjoy this big new moon week. All right, now we're moving into week 3, August 17th through August 25th. 3rd. And we're going to start off with the moon in the harmonious sign of Libra, and then it's going to head to Scorpio by dinner time. And it's going to stay in Scorpio till Thursday morning. Now, I don't know why I always smile when I talk about Scorpio energy. I personally have 3 planets in Scorpio, and I really like Scorpio energy. It's intense, and I know not everyone likes it, but I do. And I say take advantage of the power of Scorpio to accomplish your goals this week. Now, on the 17th, Monday, Mars in Cancer is going to be squaring Neptune in the sign of Aries. They're both cardinal signs, okay? And cardinal signs like to be in control because they're the signs that push forward the season, so they have a lot of power. This is an intriguing square. It's got themes of one-man, one-upmanship. It's got themes of, like, Aries is really like urgent energy. It's associated with the spring equinox, and it's kind of loud and bold and reckless. Okay. Think about spring pushing in, right? Those flowers will just like push right through the snow here in New England. So Cancer energy is the summer solstice. And when there's abundance and there's no hurry, it's kind of like chilling out and relaxing into summer. So Cancer allows others to go first. It's more strategic. It's the sign of the hearth and the home and the family and the preservation of life. It's protective and nurturing energy. And it's a little bit more subtle and quiet. So Cancer doesn't always trust, because Cancer is the crab. It's the bottom of the food chain, and it doesn't want to become the prey. So it kind of bides its time and remember, Neptune glamorizes whatever sign it's in. So it's glamorizing the signs of Aries, and Aries is the ram, and it can lock horns. But Neptune can water things down. So act now, but it's not really acting on it. And Neptune rules the masses. Mars needs a target. So also the crab kind of approaches things sideways. It circles around and it camouflages and it waits. So both signs are unstoppable because they're both cardinal signs. So we kind of have caution versus action. And you might feel like you're holding back about taking action, or it might feel like too much, or you might feel like you're being like lured out of your place of safety. Might feel conflicting. You might feel seduced by something, but not sure of it. And vision of the way things could be, but you have to act and you feel resistant, yet you might want to act. So it's kind of like back and forth. The square doesn't have to be resolved. You can ponder on it. Can you wait, or are you missing out? There might be a little bit of a dilemma. Okay. So be kind to yourself there on Monday, the 17th. Now, also on Monday, the 17th, and this month is just chock full of planetary movement. Monday, the 17th, Mercury in Leo, trine, positive aspect, Saturn, the planet of responsibility, in Aries. Are you excited by ideas? You will be speaking to a receptive audience. People will just get you, and they will help you, and they will help you put your ideas into action. Okay, so you had that caution versus action, but don't forget that you have a receptive audience right now. So one of your rough sketches can materialize, all right? Now, also on the 17th, Monday, Venus sextile Jupiter. Jupiter's the planet of hospitality, and hospitality can open many doors for you. So you had action versus inaction, you have a receptive audience, and then you have hospitality opening doors. So little touches count. It's a great time to like wine and dine a client, okay? And think of the little things. Those little things will really make a difference in your relationships. All right, now we move into our first quarter moon on Wednesday, the 19th. So with the moon in Scorpio for a few days, like, it's a good time to make sure that you're like got the rest you need, and um, the alone time that you need, okay? And then we have the first quarter moon in Scorpio. So this is time to build something from your pain. We know that creativity is often fueled by heartbreak. And, I always think of my daughter, Glory, who's a musician. And it's like some of her songs, she's always joking about how her songs are so emotional and painful and like sad sometimes, but that's what fuels creativity. So this is the time to build something from your pain. Okay. Other people can resonate with your pain. We know a broken heart doesn't stay broken forever, and the heart can love again. So build something from your pain. Maybe you write some poetry. Maybe you write music. Maybe, for myself, I think I'm going to take some time to write more of my book. Okay. Sharing the pain, the past pain of growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and having my brain formed in that way and then rebelling against it and leaving and all the shunning that came with it, all that good stuff. And I've started sharing some of it over on Tarot and Time's website and the blog, if you're curious at all. The Devil in the Cupcakes is a good place to start reading. But this is a good time to work on projects like that. This is a good time to kind of stir it up and bring it out and make something beautiful out of it. Now, on the 21st, Friday, so the moon moves into Sagittarius early on Thursday morning, so it kind of lightens things up. And it's a fire sign. So we'll have we have planets in Aries, we have planets in Leo, and now we're going to have the moon in Sagittarius, which makes a grand triangle, positive aspect. So things can run a little bit more smoothly. Now, Venus is going to be opposite Saturn on Friday, the 21st. So don't be like really pushy in a relationship. And, Venus is exalted there in Libra. And you don't have to do everything on your own. Saturn's in its roughest spot in its fall in Aries, and Saturn's all about like being self-reliant and might fight and defend. So Saturn will withdraw too. So just give people time. Give people time. Give people their space. They'll reach out when they're ready. This is not a time to be like poking at someone or like texting and being like, hey, we gotta fix this, or I'm mad at you, or let's work this out now. This is not the day. Okay. Venus opposite Saturn. Give time, not the time to try to win someone over. Now, we're headed into a Sagittarius to Capricorn weekend, which makes me happy. So have some fun on Friday night, the 21st, because it's kind of like the last day of the sun in Leo, the fun sign of Leo. And it's the moon's in Sag, which wants freedom of movement, wants to do what it wants to do. And there's that grand fire trine. So I would definitely like put a star on Friday the 21st and just make some fun plans, because on Sunday, the sun is going to change signs and it's going to go into Virgo. So, and then also the moon will move into Capricorn by like 5 p.m. on Saturday. I'm not saying Capricorns aren't fun. I'm just saying that it's a little bit heavier energy. Okay. So family or business dinner on Saturday night would make sense to me. Maybe some hard work around the house, some yard work, all that kind of stuff on Sunday. Now on the Saturday, the 22nd, sun moves to Virgo. So the party's over. Often known as the know-it-all sign, or it's associated with being like cool and removed, very cerebral. It's called the Virgin, or the planet of the workers. Okay. And it's also considered like the patron sign of the workers and like essential workers. So the sun really burns hot in Virgo because it's the end of the summer. So it doesn't really make sense that it's associated with coldness because it's such a hot time of year, but it's the harvest time of year. So Virgo's known for its work ethic. It has to gather all the harvest before it rots. So there's kind of like doing things in a hurry. There's a little bit of an urgency. So expect the next 4 weeks to be demanding. There may be deadlines. We might be hard to do it all. but it's a challenge worth rising to. Okay, Virgo, mutable earth sign ruled by the planet Mercury, often called the analyzer. Okay, so we can start getting things into order in our lives. Now, Sunday the 23rd, the moon continues in the sign of Capricorn. So we'll have the sun in an earth sign, the moon in an earth sign. Gather the harvest. Let's get some cards for this week. Last week of Leo season. Let's see what we've got going on here. One from each one of these great decks. The Soul Cat Tarot, the Tinseltown Tarot, the Black Cats, and the Hedge Witch Oracle. So let's get these going here. Oh, let's get you one here. I haven't looked at any of these cards. And let's see what you got. So your first card is the King of Wands. So there's your Leo King. He's looking quite handsome there. All right. So we've got some fire energy going after what you want. Oh, we got the Sun card. How fun. Taking advantage of these last few days in Leo, a card of joy. We also have the Emperor, who's a fire. He's related to the sign Aries. Looks like he's some kind of movie director here. He's in charge. He looks happy. So we've got like two very powerful male, masculine energy, even though the cards are non-gender. The King of Wands and the Emperor here along with the Sun. So I see a lot of passion and drive this week, but making sure that you make time for the fun, especially on Friday the 21st. Your oracle card is Feverfew, consecration. Feverfew. Okay, let's see what the book says about that. It's number 16. And it says, Feverfew indicates it's time to bless and consecrate the tools of your trade, which could be symbolized by a favorite pen, hammer, wooden spoon, or wand. The tools we work with are the objects of beauty, imbued with personal meaning, and the longer we use them, the more imbued they are with our intention, so the more powerful they become. Wisdom. In medieval Europe, feverfew was an essential part of all gardens. A tea made from its flowers can ease colds, fevers, headaches, and menstrual cramps. Planting feverfew by the door of your home was thought to protect you from the plague, while sprinkling feverfew tea around your perimeters protected all within from harm. Feverfew's defensive powers are indicated by its pear-shaped leaves, so it is used in the counter charms and to break binding spells and consecrate magical tools. Okay, so we've got some, almost feels like blessing our hard work. That's what I kind of got from it. And we know that we're going to be moving into this time of hard work. But I feel like the cards are reminding you to have fun before we move into that season. So the moon continues in Capricorn until early Tuesday morning, and we're going to be heading to a Pisces full moon. Don't be late for work on Monday. The Capricorn energy, it's not going to take any goofing off. And it's going to be in Aquarius midweek, so get ready for last-minute change of plans because Aquarius is the unpredictable energy. And with the moon in Aquarius, it will be trining Aquarius's ruler Uranus in the air sign of Gemini. So there's going to be a lot of Aquarian energy, basically. So there might be last minute plan changes, and there may be friends wanting your attention, and there's definitely a lot of unknown energy. Okay. So Mercury moves into its own sign of Virgo on the 25th. It will be there until September 10th. And you're going to be really able to streamline and edit. You're going to really be able to identify what's important. This is like tidying expert energy. So clearing out the nooks and crannies of your life. This can be literally with clearing closets, clearing space, this can be clearing mental energy and emotional space, but you will feel lighter. So there's a good, fresh perspective when Mercury moves into Virgo. Make space for what matters to you. I am very excited about this energy personally. I've been in the process of moving. I finally got storage space for my store, and I've been moving stuff into storage and clearing out my house where it was being stored before. And so as Mercury moves into Virgo, I hope to be really down into the last details of it. So very exciting energy. Thursday, the 27th, Mercury Cazimi. Okay, now Cazimi means that Mercury will be in the heart of the sun. Mercury will be conjunct the sun in Virgo. This is considered the best day of the year to hit your target. So make sure that there is a big star. I'm putting one on my calendar right now for the 27th because you can really great communication going on, getting into the details, you can really score. This is an excellent time for buying and selling, competitions, or gaming. If you're presenting something or launching something, messaging about something, this is like blessed energy. There'll be a quickness and urgency, fluid and expertise, and you will hit your target. So enjoy it. Now we are moving to the full moon. This is going to be a 4-degree full moon. You can see the chart here with the moon at 4 degrees of Pisces. It's together with the North Node. The North Node is all about purpose and what needs to be learned and accomplished. So there's a lot of that energy there with the moon. The sun is over here at 4 degrees Virgo, conjunct the South Node, the past. And it's together with Mercury, okay? So this is lovely energy here. This is very analytical energy over here on this side with the Virgo energy. And then Pisces is the opposite. It's the dreamy, it's the creative, it's the karmic. And this moon will be trining Mars, the planet of action, in the watery sign of Cancer. Okay, so there's a positive action there, positive energy available to help you through the emotions that are coming up. And the Virgo energy can help you sift and sort that out. And what else can I tell you here? So this comes with the eclipse, the lunar eclipse. Now, it's interesting because this is 4 degrees. And if you remember, last month we were talking about Barbalt's, I think that's how you pronounce it, Barbalt's basket. Barbalt's basket was a prediction about how this was going to be a big change in society for the whole planet, really, of these planets that were in all at 4 degrees. It was very historic. And when I looked it up on the internet, it says that this is the significance. It says this specific 4-degree planetary network indicates major societal rebirths, systematic shakeups, and technological revolutions. Okay, so that was last month. Again, like this is the stuff we're just going to see that day. This is going to take time to unfold. So we had Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter all at 4 degrees. And now this eclipse is at 4 degrees along with this full moon. And so this can bring in swift, uncompromising course corrections. And it's like being called like a spiritual shedding. It's forcing you to release illusion, mental fog, and old cycles that no longer serve your structural reality. Might feel a little bit like things are falling apart, okay? Because anything that's on iffy ground will collapse. So this could be in a lot of different areas in life. It's really important to get Zen through this. It's like clear away the dead wood. The old wood is being cleared away to make room for new growth. Be honest with yourself. And make room for the newness. Allow the old to go so that you can have some beautiful newness come in. Now, I know whenever we talk about change or newness, people get scared, okay? But this is here to help us get some rest. Pisces needs lots of rest. Take some quiet time. Step away from your electronics. Feel your feelings. Comfort yourself. The moon's going to stay in Pisces until it enters Aries on Saturday morning. And really, Sunday's a better day to get things done. So if you can give yourself a break this week, try to just not expect a lot from yourself this week. It might not feel like you're doing a lot, but you're going to be processing a lot. Okay. So this is an intense full moon. Then when the moon moves into Aries, we might have a little bit more get up and go. Now, Aries weekend, so between Sunday morning and Monday, the moon will be in Aries into into Monday, the 31st, okay? And it actually stays there until early Tuesday morning. So on the 31st, Jupiter is going to be trine Saturn. So Jupiter is in Leo, fire sign, trining, positive aspect, Saturn in the fire sign of Aries. Way back before we knew the modern planets, before we discovered planets with telescopes, Jupiter and Saturn were the slowest moving planets, okay? And they were, in Greek mythology, Jupiter overthrew Saturn and set up the Olympians. So Saturn's considered like the old, and Jupiter's considered the new. So Jupiter in Leo is like now energy. It's really optimistic. It's like, don't give up the faith, stay enthusiastic. But it doesn't always have the know-how, okay? Saturn has history. Saturn has experience. Saturn has respect for time and for people. And it kind of understands like what a child will grow into. Saturn was the god of farming. It's also like considered like Lord of the Zodiac, father of time. So it's very tangible energy. It's like fruit of the earth, gifts of the earth, knowing how to work to produce results. Sometimes it can be a skeptic, okay? So Jupiter has like audacity and confidence and inspiration for the future. Saturn has like the wisdom and the experience and the reality to build its vision. So with this trine, it's like Jupiter is being seen as the hand that gives, and Saturn is seen as the hand that takes, okay? So create results, and your rewards that you create, share it with others. Don't just keep it all for yourself, right? Help others. Give and take. Wow, that was a big month. Wow, that was a lot of information. Here is the chart at the end of the month. This is how we end the month. So we have a stellium in Aries, but by the last couple days of the month, because the moon's hanging out in Aries. So we have 3 planets in Aries. So that's a lot of fire energy. Now we also have, planets are kind of like spreading out more. We have some air, some water, some fire, some earth. So it's nice to see a little bit more balance. We're a little bit lower on water by the end of the month, but we had that full Pisces moon. So I think that's all the water we need right now. So let's pull a couple cards for this last big week and see what you need to know here as we are coming down off this full moon. And remember, we had that really lucky day there on the 27th. I guess I only wanted to pull a certain amount of cards, but I'm getting more here. And that one wants to be there too. Okay, you're getting more cards than I expected. Okay, let's do this. Let me put one more here and one oracle. All right. So 3 of these wanted to come out here from Soul Cats. The first one is the Queen of Wands. So we had the King last week. So we got the Fire Queen there. And then we have the Death card. and we have the Justice card. Interesting. So with the Queen of Wands, we've got intensity there, right? We've got passion, we've got intensity. Then we've got the Death card, which is Scorpio energy, and there's change, okay? And we know we were talking about this full moon and this eclipse, this lunar eclipse. There's change coming in. Of course, the Death card's going to come up. But Justice comes in, reminds us that the scales are being balanced. Okay, and that Venus, that harmonious energy is there. We've also got the Five of Cups. So we've got a lot of emotions. So please know this will be a highly emotional week. The Five of Cups, we got the Five of Cups twice. We got it from the Black Cats and from the Tinsel Tarot. So yeah, it's not an easy week. But we have to be brave. We have the Queen of Wands. We have to know things will balance out. Justice card is here to remind us of that. But don't be afraid to look at those emotions, okay? They're coming up for a reason. Just look at them and process them. I always say that, like, when you actually do and you look at it, stop running away from it, you deal with it faster than you think you will. Your oracle is this cute little bunny, and it says mint, and it says hospitality. See what the book says. Meaning all relationships need to be nurtured. Well, you got the Justice card too. And deep friendships are essential to a life of connection and happiness. Mint is an invitation to you to open your heart and your home to friendship. An ancient herb, much loved for its aromatic and culinary properties, mint is synonymous with hospitalities in many cultures. One of my favorite Greek myths is that of an old married couple, Bacchus and Philemon, who welcomed two strangers into their homes and scrubbed their table with mint leaves so it smells inviting. They generously share all their food and wine with the stranger, only to discover they are gods in disguise. Zeus offers to share all their food and wine with the strangers, only to discover they are gods in disguise. Zeus offers the good-hearted couple their heart's desire, and they ask to be allowed to die together, so they are never parted. In this time, their wish is granted. In time, their wish is granted, and they also are turned into trees and their branches entwined. Oh, that's very sweet. Okay, so hospitality. So remember, mint might be something good for you this week. Like, mint really lifts spirits and gets things moving. So if you're feeling emotional this week, maybe you have some mint in the garden. Maybe you add it to your water. Maybe you diffuse some mint essential oils this week. And remember to, even though maybe you've been hurt in the past, remember not to judge every relationship that is going to hurt you again. There are going to be some changes, but you have the braveness, the fire energy here with the Queen of Wands to help you get through this. This too shall pass. Remember, this full moon will be moving on from it quickly, and we'll be moving into the grounded energy that September provides us. So hang in there, get some mint, and make sure that you're not shutting down your heart, that you're still open and, like they took the strangers in. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for the month. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you've hit the subscribe button, and please stay tuned. I'm going to have some more videos coming out, some pick-a-pile readings, and I look forward to seeing you soon.